Hi everyone, it's Angel from UK Decoupage Blanks. Today I'm going to do a Christmas in July. I'm going to show you how to paint one of our fence peepers, which have been hugely popular. I'll show you how to paint up in your layers, how to shade around the edges to make him come to life a bit more, how to add the shading to make his nose look snowy, and I'll show you how to do the eyes. But I'm not going to do this one because this one takes quite a while to paint, so we have another one, which is this one, and he's really cute. Oh, I can't get him on there. He hits my wall. Oh, there you go. You can have him perched up in a window, or you can have him on your fence, but he's a little bit more delicate because he's only got a thin bottom. So you might want to just pop this one into your window, but either way he paints up lovely. Separate part for the nose and for the eyes, but like I say, I'll show you how to shade around them and make him come to life. Alright, so you will need, I'll just pop that one out of the way. Paints I'm going to be using are on the website, and for the reindeer it's going to be burnt sienna, and then we've got black for the nose. I do a bit of blue on the shading on the eyes to make them look a little bit more realistic, white for the eyes, and red for the nose. So you'll be needing them. You'll be needing some brushes. I use a fairly thick one just to base paint everything, the big areas, and it don't take you quite so long. And then you're going to need a shading brush, angle brush. It goes up in a slant, and you mainly only use the tip on this side, and then you paint all variant down the bristles and give you the shaded look around the edges, but I'll explain that as we go. And you'll also need another little brush for the detail, and this one I think is, well, it says a number 3, so I don't know what size it is, but it's really, really dainty and thin, and it's perfect for detail. You also need 2 sets of water. You'll need, I keep an old grubby pot for just base coating because it gets messy, and then I do a separate glass of water for your shading, but again you need to keep your water clear for your shading, if not it just looks a mess. And I keep some wet wipes at hand and a couple of paper plates to put the paint on. Oh, and PVA, just normal PVA, to put the nose, stick the nose and the eyes on. It's pretty simple, but they are lovely when you do them, and they start coming together. They're really, really pretty. So we'll start with, you can get these ones out of the way. We'll start with the burnt sienna and your large brush, and pop a, if I bring that over you'll be able to see, and pop a bit of paint onto your paper plate. I find it easier if you keep your damp brush, and then your paint will flow a lot better as well, so I just make it wet and then just dab it off. I'm going to pop a couple of pieces of paper down so that they'll cover everywhere if not. So literally this part is pretty simple. Just paint all of the bits and the edges where you want the brown. I'm going to do him all one colour. He's a slightly different colour to the other reindeer I just showed you. That one is chocolate brown I believe, but we're out of stock at that one at the minute. That's on order, so it should be here pretty soon. Make sure you smooth your paint out so you don't have any lines and lumps. He really is cute, this one. And if you enjoy painting, then these are lovely. His antlers are so big he doesn't fit very well on my table. Use the corner of your brush and flatten your bristles, and that gives you more control over the little areas. So we have that so far. So it'll come together pretty quickly. So I'll quickly pop off and finish painting just the brown areas, and I'll do the edges as well, because this brown is quite a different colour to the edges, so you're going to want to paint the edges, if not it's going to look all bitty. So I'll quickly go off and paint them bits and I'll be back. Right, he's all done. He took 2 coats of the burnt sienna and I've done him front and back. Alright, quick and really quick and easy one, this one, so that's quite nice, whereas the other Rudolph is takes quite a bit of work. The nose, this bit and the piece that's on here circled needs to be red or a colour of your choice. The outside of the eyes, white, and these bits will do black, and then we'll put his highlights in his eyes and make him come to life. You're going to need another, I meant to say, another flat brush. This one's quite a thin one to be able to get into all of the details nicely. The big one, you'll just struggle. So yeah, so we need white for the eyes. With the paints, don't put too much out at a time, because they really do go a long way, and when you're finished with them, as long as they haven't got a build up of skin on the top, just scoop them back up. If they're clean and no other colours in them, just scoop it back up and put it back in your bottle. You know, you don't need to waste it. So we just do the eyes. If you try and keep your brush flat towards your edges, it'll give you a nice guideline. Don't worry too much if you go over the black, the bits that you're going to paint black in the middle, because black will cover this anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You might need to use your little thin detail brush just to go in the middle of his eyes. Your first coat always looks a bit rough, but the second coat will soon fill it in. Any little areas you have it you can't get in with a bigger brush, just grab your little brush. I think I picked the wrong day to do a painting tutorial. It's so hot in the workshop when I've got the door closed, and it's really hot and stuffy, and I can't put the fan on because the mic picks it up, so Another good tip is cotton buds. If you go over an area that's gone on to another colour, wet a cotton bud and take it off. But I'm not too worried if I go over the edge there, because I'm going to be shading around it anyway, so you're not going to see that. So that's fine. So again, I'm going to jump off, and all I'm going to do is 2 coats of the white, 2 coats of the black there and on here to match, coat of red on there and a red on there, a couple of coats, and that's all I'll do, and I'll come back. You don't want to sit here and watch me paint it all. Alright, so we're back shortly. Hi, I'm back. He's all done. Eyes, the middles and the nose and the 3D parts. He's looking, I can't get him in because he's so tall, but yeah, he's looking good already, I must admit. You just turn my phone off. I thought that was on silent. There we go. So now the shading, you don't have to shade, you know, you can leave him bold, he looks just as good, but for me personally, I like to just add extra detail, but it's up to you, but I'll show you how to do it anyway. And every area is done the same way. The only thing I'll suggest is you definitely need a clean plate. So we'll get rid of that one, put it in there. You need some kitchen towel. You definitely need clean water. That's the only thing I can stress the most, is that you need clean water. As soon as your water starts getting muggy, and you know, it'll be cloudy, but as soon as it starts getting really thick with different colours, then you need to change it, because the idea of the shading is that on your angle brush, the colour will start on the highest point and it'll graduate down, so that will go from darker to lighter, which gives you shade. But if you've got a muggy water in that as well, then you get an extra line go around it, so it's not good. Your brush needs to be kept damp, not dripping, but it needs to be wet enough for the paint to be able to move. So my theory is I dip, I dab, and then I shade. If I show you on a darker colour first, so I can show you how to just pick up your paint, it'll be easier than doing white. So you would dip your brush and blot it. So your bristles, they're wet but they're not soaking. If you find when you dip your brush into the corner that when you're going backwards and forwards it's not gliding, then you've not got enough water, so you need to rinse and add water and reload. So you dip and you dab. You tip your highest point, you put some paint on there, not loads, you only need a tiny bit on the corner. You then put your brush down flat and pull it towards you, and you can keep going backwards and forwards like this, and you'll see that the paint will change in, well, it won't change colour, it will go from darker up to lighter as it go away from you, and that's what you need. But like I say, it's hot in here, so I'm forever going to be adding water to it because it's drying up instantly. But that is what you need, the corner of your brush, and you need to blend it into your brush before you get it into the work. Alright, I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to put a highlight on his nose so he looks a bit snowy. So on this one you can see that he's got a white ring across the top of his nose, which makes him look snowy, sparkly, highlight, whichever way you want to put it. It does make a difference. Just make sure that you've got your piece up the right way. So I need to go that way. So you will dip, take off your water, you tip of the brush, you need to glide backwards and forwards, and if you think that's not dark enough or is not enough on your brush, just do it again, but keep in the same area, because as soon as you start moving around, that's going to fill your whole brush up, and you should end up with your paint going across it like that. And then the idea of shading is you keep the point of your brush, so if I want it across the top, like I just show you on the other nose, you need to keep that top point at the top, and as all you do is you lay it flat and you pull it like so, and just push it towards the edges. Now like I say, I'm going to have to keep going over mine because it's dry in here and it's drying up, but you can put more water on your brush and just pull it round. You can do it as thick as you want or as thin as you want. But keep the brush flat. I'm just adding a little bit of water to mine just to make it move. You shouldn't need to do it with yours. Also, there is a mop brush. I don't tend to use it a great deal, but if you get little edges or you see a line, you can just dab it out and it will blend it more into the wood, like so. So that will be the tip of his nose. So when he goes on here, oh crikeys, it's added a little bit of highlight. Okay, so that one was pretty simple to do. Now the eyes, they do take some practice, but they are worth doing because it gives them character. I shade around the outside of the white with black. The outside of the black, I always do a little bit of blue to make his eyes pop a little bit more, and then I shade white under the bottoms, like so, and they do look really, really cute. So we can do that. So if we start off with, where's my black? You only need a dot of paint. Ooh, I'm getting paint all over me. You only need a dot of paint when you're shading because you're only doing the tip, so it's minimal how much you use. So again, dip, just keep working it backwards and forwards into that brush, but keep in the same area. And then all I'll do is I'll start from the top and go round so you can pull the brush towards you. So put it on the tip and just keep dragging it round. You'll see it come with you. Put your brush back down and pull it. Shading does take practice. You know, it's not something that is there. Well, you might be lucky enough, but I don't think that's the easiest thing to do to begin with. But it does come, and then you'll find that you'll do it on most of your projects. I'm trying to do it so I can show you without being too far away, but keep that point on the edge and just bring it round. And again, if you feel like it's a little bit foggy, I don't know if you can see that very well, but it is there, it's definitely there. Each time you do a section, clean your brush and reload, because if not the paint will just keep building up and up and up and you won't get no shade. It'll all just be muggy water. So this side I turn around the opposite way and work from the bottom up to the top because you're dragging it towards you. So you brush nice and flat. it's so warm in here. This is quite hard. It's just drying up as I'm going, but we'll get there. You can keep going over it and keep pulling it. As long as you keep that brush down, the point to the edge, it will be absolutely fine. You should be able to do your shading more or less in one go right the way around, but like I say, because it's so hot in here, I'm adding more water, which is there we go, that's a bit better. So there we go. Got a little bit of, if you have a little bit where you go over, just wet it, it'll come off. So yeah. That's the eyes. I'm really not sure if you can see it very well. Then I will do, you might be able to see a bit more as I go along. Do a little bit of blue, little dot, around the edges of these. Around the edges of his eyes. So again, whichever way that you're pulling your brush towards you is the way you need to work. I mean, the colours are, some of them are really, really faint, but it really does make a difference. Turn around. And go on that bit. And the same. And bring that round. You're going to be forever turning your work, but it's so worth it. So you can see the blue. I say it's not nothing major, but it does make a difference. Where is my little Peeper? Oh, there it is. Make sure you've got this up the right way, if not his eyes will be wonky. This bit I shade a little piece of white along the bottoms. Oh, which way are we up? This way. I need to do it along this way. So this will be the tiniest little piece of white. And just pop the corner of your brush on the bottom of his eye and just go across. Like so. And if you feel like you've got too much on there, just keep going over it, and that you'll see that the paint will kind of like push to the edges. So I put mine about halfway up on the tip and just pull it up straight across. So you have that. Alright. So then when you put his eyes on there and you put his nose on there, he's already looking kind of cute. Right, the eyes. Easy enough. Use the end of your paintbrush to dip in your white to do 2 dots, or however big you want them, and then use your little liner brush just to do 2 lines either side for highlights, these ones. So again, it's simple but it's effective. So I'll do my lines first, so I don't. Little piece of water mixed in with your white, so it's runny but not dripping, helps your paintbrush glide rather than being thick paint, and just twist it off to a point. So if you add a little piece of water, what I just did, just mix it around so it's not runny but it's thicker, it's thinner than what it was, and then kind of twist your brush and pull it off, and you'll have a nice point on the end. And then all you'll do is just put 1 line that side and 1 line that side, and then depending on how big you want your dot, your middle of your eye, I use the end of my paintbrush and I dip once there and dip once there, and lifted that up with me, so he's dragged a bit, so I'm going to have to make it a little bit bigger. That's okay, like so. So you will have that for his eyes and that for his nose. So from being plain to that, he looks pretty cute. Alright, so we'll leave them couple to dry because them dots will take. Just going to blast, excuse the noise a second. If you use your heat gun, if you use your heat gun to dry layers in between, which I do because I'm just way too impatient to wait, I want to get the project finished, make sure that you keep your heat gun moving. Don't keep it blasting in one area because your paint will just bubble. It won't be no good. So yeah, so that's that bit. Now it's totally up to you if you want to float edges or where you want to float the edges. I mean, on this one I've more or less floated all the way around. So this is obviously cream, but then I'll do like the same colour brown as I did him to shade around this, so it's darker. The same as here. Around the edges I do a darker brown so that you can do the difference from that one. With the black, are we back on again? Not really sure what happened there, sorry about that guys. Yeah, as I was saying with this one, wherever you've got your colour, do like a coordinating colour around the edge. So this one I've done a light brown because he's like a creamy browny colour there. On the ears and the coat I do a dark brown around the edge because it's got a dark brown on there, and then this is like the orangey brown that I've done this reindeer in, so again I've used a darker one so it will just emphasise what's already on there. Around the hat and on his hoofs I do white because on black there's not another colour that you can shade with, so white will just highlight him. And around the pink I've got pink, so I've done a shading of pink, but then I also done a little bit of white, which it tones down the pink but it makes it highlighted at the same time, if that makes sense. But you'll know as you go along, every time you do a shade, what it does and where you can use it in the future. But it does make a difference. And then this one I've just added glitter to here, and I shaded grey around the outside of the white, so it's definitely worth doing. So I'll show you a few places on here where I would do the highlight and what I'd use. Actually, 2 seconds, I've got to grab another paint. Here we go. Oh, I've got a squeaky chair as well. Burnt umber, which is really, really dark. but against the brown it works well. So a little dot. I'm going to grab some more clean water. You should be able to do a food floats before you need to change your water. But we're now doing a bigger different area, so that's different. So yeah, I would more or less go around all of this floating, just to make him stand out. You can go across the top of his ears here, which will then make it look different to the antlers, so are separate. I'd go around the eyes and around the nose and on his feet, but it's up to you. You can put the float on exactly where you want to put it. It doesn't make any difference. Or like I say, you don't have to do it, but I'll show you the difference. If we just literally do, I don't want to make my eyes bludgy. So if we did over the top, a bit more colour. If your colour is light, add a little bit more paint, but go back into that same area where you've shaded. Over the top of them. Just put that point on the edge and just keep pulling it right the way around. Or in this case, I'd go off of the edge only halfway down, because that's the shape of his foot coming down. I've still got quite a bit of water in my brush, so I can keep going back and reloading. And like I say, you can keep going over it until you get the depth you want, or you can keep it light. It's entirely up to you. And do the same over here. Like I say, you probably won't need to keep your brush as wet as what I am, but it is so hot in here, it's drying up, so I'm having to move the water around more than what I normally would. Normally you can do it more or less in one scoop. So yeah, just by putting a highlight over the top, it kind of brings him together. These lines on his feet, I would do the same, just to bring them out, make them stand out a little bit more. Literally just follow that line down. Like so, and then turn him around, because on the other side you'll be working towards you, so you need to turn him around. It's easier to pull towards you than what it is to push away from you. You got more control. Like so. See, so it does make a difference, and I would follow these lines all the way around, all over, and then you see him kind of pop. You see him become his own little character. But even if you put, it's a case of playing around. I mean, when I first started doing this, I was a bit worried on putting it anywhere, to be fair. But the worst scenario is you can get a wet wipe and wipe it off. But you'll notice as you go along you'll be able to get the knack of flattening your brush, and the more flat you can keep it and that point against the edge, the easier you'll find it. So I'll turn it round and I'll just go this way around his eyes. So if you can see the difference from being left plain, that's still a little piece wet, to having the highlight round, it does make a whole lot of difference. Alright, so it's the same procedure how I've just shown you how to float. Wherever there's a line, follow it and keep the tip of your brush the highest point to the edge. If you only want to do certain sections, it's absolutely fine, there's no reason why you can't. It's just I like to see it mainly all over, but like I say, as you go along you'll see that, oh, I could do with a little bit there or a little bit here. So just keep playing with it, keep working with it. So I'm going to pop off and I'm going to finish the shading, and then I'll come back and show you the finished result. Alright, right, done all the floating and shading. I'm quite pleased with that. You can see that I've gone around with the brown, and then every so often I've highlighted with a little bit of white just to make him shine, just across his feet and a couple of the antlers. So I'm going to show you now how to do pink cheeks, but not pink as in painted on pink. It's a dry brush. So I use a really old ruffled stipple brush. It's as rough as they come. Had it for years, but it's brilliant, and these seem to be, the more you've worked with them the better they are. So it's all you need is your stipple brush, kitchen towel, and I'm going to use Lush Pink. Oh, don't need a lot because you want to rub most of it off anyway. So all you do is keep your brush dry. You don't want a wet brush for dry brush, because it will just smudge and smear in like you painted it on, and you want the opposite, you want it to look natural. So dab your brush in and just dab off the worst of it. Then grab your kitchen towel and scrub. It will look like there is hardly anything on your brush, but that's what you want. Alright, you want it faint and not bold. So all you do is you find obviously where you want to put it on his cheeks, and you put it down and you just keep going round. You can make them it's really hard because his antlers are so big. So you just gently just blend it out more, and you can, instead of doing round dots, I've got a round dot there, so if you work it a bit more you can move it out so it doesn't just look like a splodge. Take it up into his cheeks and under his face so it looks like he's got big rosy cheeks rather than dots. And as long as that brush is dry, you're not going to get big thick marks. Alright, so you just need to dry brush him. And then a little bit more down there. So dry brush will go quite a way. You don't have to keep reloading this. Just rub around in circles, back to front, wherever you like, where you need to put it. But that brush is virtually dry. Alright, so again, that's giving character. And then when you put the nose on, he comes to life again, and you put the eyes on just with that little highlight in his eyes. He looks adorable. Them bits. Right, now I'll just get rid of this pink. Make sure I've not got pink splotty water rather than white. Now I'll show you how to do, you're probably going to want a couple of pieces of paper down because that does make a bit of mess. Good old copy of paper, cheap as chips. And one more. Alright, we're going to add some snow. Or snow splatters, I should say. So you need some white. It's probably way too much, but there you go. You need some white. Fill up, I use the stencil brush again, nice and thick. Add some water. Just fill up the brush and just mix it up. Like so. I roll the brush to get rid of the excess and tap it out so there's not big drops coming off. Now you can either splatter it like that just with your finger, which works, but you're going to get messy, so I'll pre-warn you. I put my thumb on the end and I flick, because you've got more control over where them dots are going, and if you do it gently you don't get big splats, you just get little dots, and you can add it however much or little you like, and that's as easy as that once I've dried my hand. Ugh. Right, so yeah, they are very faint. You can see them, but the dots, they're more like little sprays rather than dots. So like I say, if you use your stipple brush, you add water, so you've got puddly water, so it's quite runny, like so, and then I twist the brush on the plate to get any of the excess, all the extra water you need to get out, because as soon as you go like this or you flick it, if there's excess water in it, that's when you get big blobs. So if you just put your thumb on the end and really gently pull it backwards and forwards, you'll get like a sprayed look rather than big huge dots. Alright, so with the added snow and his nose, let's quickly glue them into place and then he'll be done. I know it's a longer video, but I'd rather, you don't need to sit and watch me paint all the base coating and bits, but I'd rather show you the new bits that I know, and if I can pass on any tips I will. So just normal PVA glue on the back, just to pop, so I drop it. Trust me to put it upside down. I've been saying all along the video, watch which way you put it up. Like so. His eyes, some glue on there. Some glue on the back of his nose. Not loads, so it oozes out when you press it down. It's just a thin layer, but make sure you cover it all. Just put that in there because that's hot and that will dry up. And then just line him up and press him on. Like so. And now I can add a little piece, you'll still have plenty on there, a little piece of sparkle on his nose. And I've done it again. You will get messy doing this part, but it is worth it. He looks all Christmassy and snowy and he's lovely. Oh. So yeah, there he is. Really, really cute. Look at them dry cheeks, them blush cheeks. They're so cute. We've sold so many of the fence peepers and the other Rudolph we do. They're going to look fun at Christmas. I can't wait. Plenty of people from where we live have bought them as well, and I can't wait to start seeing them go up. This one has to be my favourite, and I'm going to do, I can't even think of how many reindeers there are, but I'm going to do all of the reindeers, and we've got the Santa Claus on the fence as well. So they go all along my front fence, the whole set of reindeers and Santa. I think that will look brilliant. We have a Facebook group, a brilliant bunch of ladies. We all have a good giggle, good laugh, help and support each other. There's lots more tips and bits over there, and the ladies are always happy to help you. So if you want to come and join us over there, it is UK Decoupage Blanks. I had to think then. The Facebook group. Find us on Facebook, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I did. I'm really, really hot, so I'm gonna get out. And I'll catch up with all you soon. Alright, take care guys. Thank you, bye.